BEONTV UK, for the community, by the community. www.beontvuk.com.
বার্মিংহামের আশেপাশে কত মার্কেট আছে, ওরিয়েন্টাল সুপার মার্কেট সেরা সবার মাঝে। মাছ মাংস শাক সবজি সব তাজা ভাই, এর লাইগা তো বউয়ের রান্ধনে তো মজাই খায়। ওরিয়েন্টালে বাজার করে এত শান্তি পাই, হাকালুকি হাওরের মতো কারপার কাছে ভাই।
Oriental Halal Store, Coventry Road, Small Heath, Birmingham.
এ হলজারু আর আইতাম না দেশো, আর আইতাম না লন্ডন আইছি। না না তুই বহুত জ্বালানি জ্বালাইছত গো, মাইলে নদী গো আর নাই বুঝছত নি। মুখ বন্ধ করলে আতারে বাতারে মাতিস না, দৌড় মুখ গলাত মারমু পেটর তোলাত, এর বাদে কমর 2 লাখ। তুই তো জানাস না কাটু চালি উফরে দিয়া এ উফরে দিয়া লাগি তোমার ধনে লন্ডন। রাখি দে ও BEONTV UK আগামী 4 তারিখ বুঝছত নি। আমি বিরাট এক প্রোগ্রামের আয়োজন করছি। ওই আমার তারা দাওয়াত দিছ না, যাইতাম লন্ডন লগে দেখো হইব। রাখি দে, তোর লগে মাতার সময় নাই। রাখ খামো মাত বাড়ায় ডাকর এক কথা আছে না, মাত বাড়ে আর মা কোন ঘি বাড়ে, এই জিনিসটা আমি বুঝাইতাম পারলাম। সুপ্রিয় দর্শক মন্ডলী, এই মুহূর্তে দেশ বিদেশের যে যেখান থেকে আমার দেখরা সবরে জানাইলাম শুভেচ্ছা। আগামী 4 জুলাই সন্ধ্যা 7টার সময় BEONTV UK অর্গানাইজিংয়ে বার্মিংহাম পিকাডিলি ব্যানকুয়েটিং সুইটও একটা প্রোগ্রাম অর্গানাইজ করা হয়েছে, ডাইন উইথ কাট্টুশালী। তো আপনারা যারা সিলেটি নাটকবালা ফাইন, যারা কাট্টুশালী নাটকবালা ফাইন, তারা অবশ্যই আগামী 4 জুলাই সন্ধ্যা 7টার সময় অবশ্যই বার্মিংহাম আইবা এবং এই প্রোগ্রামটা সরাসরি আপনারা উপস্থিত থাকবা। আপনারা সবর লগে দেখো হইব, গান হইব, আড্ডা হইব। আর যেহেতু একটা আমার প্রথম লন্ডন প্রোগ্রাম, আশা করি আপনারা সব আইবা আর আইয়া এই প্রোগ্রামটারে আরো প্রাণবন্ত করে তুলবা। আর যারা আইতে পারতো না তারা হতাশ হওয়ার কিছু নাই। BEONTV UK এই পুরা প্রোগ্রামটাও আপনারা লাইভও দেখানো হইব। আপনারা সব BEONTV UK এর লগে থাকবা, আপনারা সরাসরি উপভোগ করতে পারবেন। ভালো থাকবা, সুখে থাকবা। 4 তারিখ দেখো হইব ইনশাআল্লাহ বার্মিংহাম পিকাডিলি ব্যানকুয়েটিং সুইটে।
আপনি কি আপনার রেস্টুরেন্টের জন্য কমার্শিয়াল কুকার, তন্দুরি, হট প্লেট, ওভেন এবং ক্যানোপির বিশ্বস্ত প্রতিষ্ঠান খুঁজছেন? আপনি কি এই সকল সামগ্রী UK স্ট্যান্ডার্ড সার্ভিস সার্টিফিকেট CE সহ চান? তাহলে আর ভাবনা নেই। সুদীর্ঘ 20 বছর স্পেন, ইটালি এবং বাংলাদেশে সুনামের সাথে ব্যবসা করার পর এখন বার্মিংহামে খোলা হলো আমাদের শোরুম এবং ফ্যাক্টরি।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। একটা ভালো রেস্টুরেন্ট এবং একটা ভালো ব্যবসার জন্য একটা ভালো কুকারের প্রয়োজন হয়। আলহামদুলিল্লাহ আমি অনেকদিন খোঁজাখুঁজির পর বার্মিংহাম কমার্শিয়াল কুকার যারা CE অ্যাপ্রুভ, তাদের কাছ থেকে আমি একটা কুকার কিনেছিলাম। কুকারটা অত্যন্ত ভালো এবং খুবই ভালো সার্ভিস দিচ্ছে এবং তাদের ব্যবসা প্রতিষ্ঠানের সার্ভিসটাও খুবই ভালো। আমি হ্যাপি এবং আমার কিচেনের স্টাফটাও হ্যাপি।
Birmingham Commercial Cooker Limited, Unit 69, Sydenham Road, B11 1DG, Birmingham. Phone number 0795 297 8136.
Lal Haweli Restaurant at the heart of Walsall. BBC Welsh Curry Award-winning chef Abul Hussain presents most unique and amazing tawa dishes with many flavours and choices. Eat with your family and friends. A unique dining experience never to be missed. Lal Haweli, a 400-seat capacity restaurant perfect for any small parties and functions. Special seating arrangements for ladies and families with prayer facility inside. Mouth-watering tawa dishes. Join Tawa Festival at Lal Haweli. Lal Haweli, home of Tawa. 1 Midland Road, Walsall.
Hello, welcome to Empowered Women Show on BEONTV. I am your host, Fajli Bibi. The show is designed to inspire, empower, and raise your aspiration. Every time I bring inspirational women from all over the world to share their journey to success and how they've overcome the barriers and obstacles in their journey to success. But today, I have an internationally renowned, inspirational woman who overcame many obstacles and barriers, who devoted over 50 years of her life to Bangladesh, helping people with disability. She is also known as the Mother Teresa of Bangladesh. The Prime Minister of Bangladesh personally gave her citizenship as a Bangladeshi. She's a British woman, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Valerie and Taylor, OBE. Valerie, welcome to our Beyond TV Empowered Women show. We are honoured to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, and I'm more honoured to be invited. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Now, we know everywhere we look on the social media, online, you are well known and you've been in the media a lot. But today, we want to hear about you as a woman, as an inspirational woman, because this show is to inspire other women to overcome the obstacles in their journey and how we can shed a light. And we'd like to share your story and your struggles and your success as a woman and how you've overcome those and achieved so many awards, which we will be sharing later on. But you've also worked with a lot of women across the globe, and you've helped a lot of women and enable them and help to progress them into employment. So I want to hear more about you. So please tell me a bit about yourself and your childhood.
Very good. Thank you. Well, in a word, our childhood was very happy. We were greatly blessed by having parents who really cared about us. And so when I say us, we were 3 girls, and I was the middle one. And of course, well, my father always used to say he felt he would be well looked after in his old age, because I had decided that I would like to do physiotherapy, and my older sister and my younger sister both decided on nursing. So that's why my dad thought he'd be well looked after. But what I think was so nice for me was when it came to the time of thinking, where would I work? And I was very interested to work as a volunteer under the auspices of voluntary service overseas, which was the British volunteer programme at that time. My parents used to say, instead of saying, "Oh, don't go there, it's not so wise a move," they would just say, "If you're happy, we're happy." So it made it very, very easy for both my sisters and myself.
That's amazing to have that support from your parents, because it is our parents who helps to instill within us the direction we go. And you mentioned you're the middle one. Well, I'm the middle one in my family, and it shows why we're both so connected.
Lovely, very good.
And it's nice to hear that your sisters were also in caring professions as well. Tell me a bit about where did you grow up? Did you grow up in the UK or?
Yes. Well, first memories of anything were going on a very long boat journey to South America, to Argentina.
Wow.
Because my father was a medical missionary to Argentina, and he had gone alone for the first 5 years, but the then he was back in the UK, but then again went back for I think 3 years to the Argentine, and we went with him. So my mother, my older sister, and my younger sister was born in Argentina. So,
Wow, so you have been following your father's footstep.
pretty much, you could say, that's right. Also, though, my elder sister did in a similar way. She went as a nurse to Zambia nursing, and then she went to Dubai, when Dubai was just so tiny. None of the multi-story buildings that you see there today would have been built. And it was a single-story Al Maktoum hospital where she worked. So she had also got the travelling bug and had that experience in her life.
Excellent. Was it the time when Dubai was being ruled by the British Empire?
No, I think it was not. But it was in the early days, because I remember as we lifted off in the plane from the ground, looking out of the plane window, I saw that the roundabout, the roads, you saw perhaps 4 roads going off the roundabout, but they went only a matter of perhaps half a mile, and then it was all sand. So you realised it was just in those very early days that
yes, I think Dubai has changed completely now, and I think because of the way Dubai was and the whole of Emirates, the British actually left, and that's when they found their oil.
Yes, yes.
So
yes,
well, it seems like your whole family is in caring professions, supporting people.
Yeah.
So you went to Bangladesh. How did that happen?
Thank you for asking that. I trained as a physiotherapist in London, and towards the end of our training, I suppose it would always happen, something similar. Your lecturers would say, what are you thinking of doing when you qualify? And I remember saying in answer, I want to be a volunteer, and I want to go to a place which is developing. And it so happened that with VSO, when you offer your services, they then try and match with people appealing for a teacher, a nurse, a physiotherapist, because you knew that before you started applying that you were able to put your first choice, your second choice, but it may have no bearing on where they actually send you. One understood that. But, sorry.
No, go on.
No, so I had been reading 3 different books about the medical hospital and the training that they gave in Vellore in South India, which has now become, I think, a very well-known, very famous hospital. And these were 3 very thrilling stories. One was of the founder of the hospital, and one was the paraplegic anaesthetist at the hospital, and one was the plastic surgeon who told the reader about the surgery he was doing. So I was very interested and excited on reading those stories. So I had put that I would like to go to the Indian subcontinent. And it just so happened that at that time, the small hospital in Chandragona, the Christian hospital in the Chittagong Hill Tracts, had sent in a request for someone to start physiotherapy in their general hospital and in their leprosy hospital. And so when I applied, they put the 2 together, and so I knew that that's where I would be going. It's a silly thing to mention, but I do remember saying to them, please, I've never heard of Chittagong before. Please write it down for me, because my mother will ask me, where are they sending you? And I find it such a different name, and something at first that I just heard. So they solemnly wrote it out for me, the Chittagong Hill Tracts.
It is quite a complicated name to
Yeah.
say at the start. But
Yeah.
so what? When was this? Was this before the before Bangladesh, or
Yes,
when it
certainly.
was? Go on,
Certainly.
tell me.
It was East Pakistan.
So you went to East Pakistan.
That's right. In 1969.
69. Okay. Well, that's amazing, because I think looking at the East Pakistan and Bangladesh now, it's a completely different world.
It also is changing, not exactly like Dubai, but great changes have taken place, certainly. I realized after a while that I wasn't very good at planning, because in the early days, VSO would say you need to commit to one or the other, either 15 months or 2 years. And if you say you'll stay for 2 years, you're more likely to get agreement from VSO. But I remember thinking, I'll be very careful about this. I may not like East Pakistan. Why would I say I'll go for 2 years? No, I'll keep to this. I'll go for 15 months. So 53 years later, I feel a little silly when I am still going backwards and forwards.
That is the longest 15 months I've ever heard of. So you
could
spent
say.
50 years, over 50 years, but you only went for 15 months.
Absolutely.
It's nice to hear that you've actually seen the way Bangladesh was at the time of East Pakistan. I mean, were you there when the Civil War started?
I was.
Please
I
tell
was
us.
indeed, yes. Well, we knew from reports that there was going to be trouble. And suddenly one day the phone rang, and it was from the British Council, and the message was, we're coming for you later today to remove you to Dhaka to get a flight to be repatriated, to go back to the UK. And they just said, pack a small suitcase and we'll see you later today. And we spent a day or two in Dhaka, and then the day that we were told you're going to be able to get on a flight, it wasn't going in the right direction. It wasn't going west to the UK. It was going east to Thailand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So but it was my first chance to visit Thailand. From that point of view, I didn't mind at all. And what was interesting, though, was it was not ever meant for passengers. It was a transport plane.
Okay.
So we were all strapped together in a very long seat with the seatbelt, but very long seatbelt. And it took much longer than a normal flight. It would be the usual flight for transport, which doesn't
How
have
long
to
did
get.
it take?
I'm sorry, I have to say I forget.
Okay.
But I do remember it was substantially longer than a passenger flight would have taken.
How old were you when all this happened?
Well, I came when I was 25 to East Pakistan, and that was in '69. So this was 2 years later, the beginning of '71, when the stage of civil disobedience had started, and that's when women and children who were foreigners and who hadn't got an absolutely urgent role to continue were heading out on whatever flight they could find.
Were you scared?
I don't remember being scared at all. I found that actually, I'm interested you asked that question, because there was another. We lived in a bamboo bungalow at the top of a hill, and this person who was a nursing sister from Scotland, she would feel terribly nervous if there was a plane slowly moving around and you knew that. And it was my first experience of having blackouts, so no planes would know that any people were there at the top of the hill. But she would be somebody who was nervous of thunderstorms, and I love to watch the lightning and hear the thunder. So she was somebody who would admit she was really quite scared. But I remember thinking how different we all are. I realised I honestly couldn't say
You were fearless.
I couldn't say I was particularly aware of fear. Yes, it's true.
Good. Well, you know what? Most women, we're all different.
We are.
And that's where we actually become the strength of each other.
Yes, absolutely.
So her weakness is your strength, and your strength is their weakness. So I think if you work together, we can actually build a better society.
Absolutely, I think that's so true.
So you went to Thailand. How soon did you come back? Why did you come back to Bangladesh again?
No, I didn't come back from Thailand. As soon as there was a British Airways flight, we were flown back to the UK. Then my first job was to phone the Indian High Commission in London. I remember feeling a bit worried about it because I said, please, have you got any job that I can do? I'm a volunteer I was actually cutting down with a saw some wooden crutches for the patient I was treating so they'd be more comfortable for him. Oh, sorry, firstly, I'm forgetting where I was going with this.
So you're talking about you phoned Indian Embassy?
Yes, thank you, yes. And a lady on the end of the phone, of course she was busy and she didn't want to be disturbed by this person who was saying, I'm just returned from East Pakistan and I would love to help you in India with all the refugees going to Calcutta, for example. No, we can manage, thank you very much. And down went the phone. So I do remember feeling that although I know I'd been cutting those crutches to the right height, I felt I'd been cut off in the middle of my working day and in my plan for being there for a year or two, because by then I'd asked if I could extend. Firstly, sorry.
So you wanted to go back to help the East Pakistani refugees that was going into Calcutta from Bangladesh at the Civil War. So you definitely created connection between the Bangladeshi community and you wanted to continue to help them even though you came back to the UK.
Yeah.
So when did you go back again?
So what was so interesting then was, and I really hoped that my parents wouldn't hear the headline of the news, which talked about the Indian troops amassing along the border with India.
Okay.
And of course, and that was just the time when I knew I'd got a return flight. And so no mention was made by me or my parents that I would be meeting a time when the Indian Army would come in. But I remember just a matter of days or perhaps very, very few weeks, the khaki uniforms of the Pakistani army gave way to the green uniforms of the Indian army, who were welcomed in. And so it was, for me, a very exciting time. I mean, just the fact that this was going to be the birth of a new nation, Bangladesh, was very exciting.
Okay, well, I think, as you know, this is a live show, and we actually have a phone call at the moment.
Oh, right.
So we have somebody on the line who'd like to speak to us. Yes, hello. Who have I got here?
Yeah, well, this is Josh Ahmed here from Birmingham.
Hello, Josh. How are you?
Yeah. I'm okay. How's yourself?
We're fine, thank you. And would you like to ask a question to Valerie, or?
Yes, please, if that's okay.
Yes, please go ahead. She can hear you.
Brilliant. Yeah, so just like to say, Valerie, the work that you're doing is very inspirational for everyone. The fact that you're doing some really great work for the disabled people. in Bangladesh. So keep it up and
Thank you. Josh,
one question really is in terms of training the disabled people. How do you sort of determine what work they can do when you go through your rehab process?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think we would always want to see that the person returns to their previous employment if at all possible. And for many people it's not at all possible because maybe they were farmers in inches of water planting rice fields and things, and they can't do that from a wheelchair. So we would like people, but there are people who can go back. Perhaps they were a teacher in a primary school or secondary school or even at a university, who could go back to do that teaching from their wheelchair. And of course that's a message going across, isn't it? That children get used to seeing an adult in a wheelchair, but doing the profession, doing the job they were trained and experienced to do. So our patients then are given a choice, because it's no good saying, oh, well, you must do this or that. But for example, we have a computer training course, and of course that has to be only for people who have a certain amount of education. So perhaps that's up to class 8. I'm just guessing because I don't remember exactly what our entry qualifications are for that particular course. Electronics repair, it also means that people need a certain amount of education before they go into that, because it's a very, very useful training for when people go back to their villages, and village people then know that this is the man who can repair any electrical thing, whether it's an iron or a television or a radio, and simple mobile phone repairs they are taught to do. Josh, could I just say, because you know I talk too much, but how much I appreciate your wonderful idea of having in Bangladesh a factory situation which will welcome people with disabilities. This is like music to my ears. It's a wonderful adventure that you are planning and setting out on, and I would like to say that without people like you, that we can only do very limited amount. Sorry, no, I finished. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Josh. I mean, I think we've actually gone... Josh seems to know a lot about you and the work that you have done, because you have Centre of Rehabilitation of the Paralysed, which That's you right. call CRPs. Now, how did you set up the CRPs?
It goes back to that early mission hospital in the Chittagong Hill Tracts, where in the years that I was there, I think 3 altogether, but I came across 4 people with spinal injuries. And I remember thinking, there's no occupational therapist here. There's no wheelchair here. There's all the things that weren't possible for them. And I remember thinking, now I've got to set about trying to start a small, separate, independent centre for people with spinal injuries. So it all started from that.
Excellent. Well, we're very busy today, so I have another caller on the line. Hello, who have we got on the line today?
Hi there, it's Fajli. It's Asma here from Birmingham.
Hello, Asma, how are you?
Fine, thank you. So it's great to see sort of like your program, and it's good to see Valerie on your program. Hi, Valerie.
Hello.
Hi. It's great to. I mean, I've read some of your inspirational stories regarding your charitable events for Bangladesh, and listening to your experience. going to and fro Bangladesh. It's absolutely phenomenal. One of the questions I like to ask is, because, as Fajli knows, I'm a great believer in women in leadership and empowering women. As a woman myself, I can understand you may have faced a lot of challenges on your journey. If you had, and I appreciate, you'll probably be talking about some of those challenges with Fajli, but one of the things I'd like to ask you is, if you had to do anything different, John?
Okay, so Asma, have I lost you? Oh, I think we've just lost you.
I'm still on the line.
Okay, so you were asking if she had the opportunity to do something differently or
yeah.
start again. What would you do differently?
It might sound a bit presumptuous, but I don't know that I would suggest doing something differently, because this maybe sounds dreadful, as if I feel, oh no, everything was fine. But what I will say is, you're learning all the time, aren't we? By breaking new ground, training not only our patients, but our staff to, in future, be the trainers of patients. So I think we were learning lessons all the time. We were certainly not pretending to know what we were doing. It was the first time that we had a vocational training institute it developed into, where then there was a range of different skills that somebody could learn. Often you see these were farmers, people before they lost the use of their legs through having had a broken back, for example. So it's wonderful to see a paralyzed woman in her wheelchair milking her cow. But all these things are possible. So poultry rearing, vegetable growing, fruit tree growing, and then if you've got fruit trees, making chutney and making jams from the fruits that you get on your trees. So many different things we were able to share with our patients over the years. But I think the way we did it was that we were gradually changing and adapting as we went along. So I don't think at this stage I could think of how we would do something completely different.
Excellent. Well, it seems like, you started very small, so with 4 people. How many people do you support now?
Well, we have 100 beds in Sava for spinal injuries. And we are hoping to increase that number, because what is always sad is when your beds are completely full up, what happens? We know that this person, that person then have to be added to a waiting list. But these are people who just shouldn't have to wait. Okay. Why? Because the complications can be killers. A complication, because, and I think many viewers perhaps won't understand this, others will know it much better than I do, but you lose the sensation in your skin below the level of your injury. So where you and I, lying on a hard bed, we're not thinking about it. Automatically, we have to turn onto our side. Yes. Because this bony area is hurting you. And then after a couple of hours, automatically, just in your sleep, you turn onto your back again. And then when this bony sacrum behind you becomes uncomfortable, you roll over to the other side. But a person with paraplegia or quadriplegia, so paralyzed in all 4 limbs or 2 lower limbs, they don't feel that. They don't feel the discomfort. And what happens? in a matter of hours, a little blister forms and it's red and sore, but they can't feel it, so they're not worried.
Wow.
And what starts as a little blister can end up as what is described as a dinner plate size and often deep down to bone, pressure sore. And that can be on over any bony area. And it becomes such that septicemia sets in and the body can only fight a certain amount. But these are excessively big and deep sores just from pressure, from not relieving the weight of your body from these areas where the bone is close to the skin.
Thank you. No, I was going to say we will continue that. We will take a short break and we will come back. So we will now have a quick short break and then we will be back and we will continue the discussion with Valerie. Thank you so much, Valerie.
Thank you.
বার্মিংহামের আশেপাশে কত মার্কেট আছে, ওরিয়েন্টাল সুপার মার্কেট সেরা সবার মাঝে। মাছ মাংস শাক সবজি সব তাজা ভাই, এর লাইগা তো বউয়ে রান্ধনে তো মজায় খায়। ওরিয়েন্টালে বাজার করে এত শান্তি পাই, হাকালুকি হাওরের মতো কারপার কাছে ভাই।
Oriental Halal Store, Coventry Road, Small Heath, Birmingham.
আর আইতাম না দেশো, আর আইতাম না লন্ডন আইছি। না না তুই বহুত জ্বালানি জ্বালাইছত গো মাইলে নদী গো আর নাই বুঝছত নি। মুখ বন্ধ করলে আতারে বাতারে মাতিস না। দৌড় মুখ গলাত মারমু ভেটর তোলাতে এর বাদে কমরো 2 লাখ। তুই তো জানোস না কাটতে চালি উফরে দিয়া। উফরে দিয়া লাগি তোর ধনে লন্ডন। রাখি দে। ও BEONTV UK আগামী 4 তারিখ বুঝছত নি। আমি বিরাট এক প্রোগ্রামের আয়োজন করছি। ওই আমার তারা দাওয়াত দিছ না যাইতাম। লন্ডন লগে দেখো হইব। রাখি দে তোর লগে মাতার সময় নাই। রাখ খামো হাত বাড়ায় ডাকর এক কথা আছে না মাত বাড়ে আর মা কোন গিবার এই জিনিসটা আমি বুঝাইতাম পারলাম। সুপ্রিয় দর্শক মন্ডলী, এই মুহূর্তে দেশ বিদেশের যে যেখান থেকে আমার দেখরা সবরে জানাইলাম শুভেচ্ছা। আগামী 4 জুলাই সন্ধ্যা 7টার সময় BEONTV UK অর্গানাইজিংয়ে বার্মিংহাম পিকাডিলি ব্যানকুয়েটিং সুইটও একটা প্রোগ্রাম অর্গানাইজ করা হয়েছে, ডাইন উইথ কাটুশালী। তো আপনারা যারা সিলেটি নাটকবালা ফাইন, যারা কাটুশালী নাটকবালা ফাইন, তারা অবশ্যই আগামী 4 জুলাই সন্ধ্যা 7টার সময় অবশ্যই বার্মিংহাম আইবা এবং এই প্রোগ্রামটা সরাসরি আপনারা উপস্থিত থাকবা। আপনারা সবর লগে দেখো হইব, গান হইব, আড্ডা হইব। আর যেহেতু একটা আমার প্রথম লন্ডন প্রোগ্রাম, আশা করি আপনারা সব আইবা আর আইয়া এই প্রোগ্রামটারে আরো প্রাণবন্ত করে তুলবা। আর যারা আইতে পারছে না তারা হতাশ হওয়ার কিছু নাই। BEONTV UK এই পুরা প্রোগ্রামটাও আপনারা লাইভও দেখানো হইব। আপনারা সব BEONTV UK এর লগে থাকবা, আপনারা সরাসরি উপভোগ করতে পারবেন। ভালো থাকবা, সুখে থাকবা। 4 তারিখ দেখো হইব ইনশাআল্লাহ বার্মিংহাম পিকাডিলি ব্যানকুয়েটিং সুইটে।
Lal Haweli Restaurant at the heart of Walsall. BBC Welsh Curry Award-winning chef Abul Hussain presents most unique and amazing tawa dishes with many flavours and choices. Eat with your family and friends. A unique dining experience never to be missed. Lal Haweli, a 400-seat capacity restaurant perfect for any small parties and functions. Special seating arrangements for ladies and families with prayer facility inside. Mouth-watering tawa dishes. Join Tawa Festival at Lal Haweli. Lal Haweli, home of Tawa. 1 Midland Road, Walsall.
The Empowered Women Show, a show designed to inspire, empower and raise your aspiration. Today my guest is Valerie and Taylor OBE, and you've heard about the amazing work that she has been doing to support patients who are disabled, who are paralyzed, and she has a number of centers across the whole of Bangladesh that is supporting people. I'm going to now show you a video of a case study of a young girl at the age of 2.5 who lost her legs, one of her hands as well. So I will now show you a video, and then we will come back and discuss that further with Valerie. So please watch the case study.
আমার বয়স যখন 2.5 বছর তখন আমার হাতে পায়ে ফোসকা পড়ে। গ্রামে হাতুড়ি ডক্টর দেখানো হয়, ওনারা ভুল মেডিসিন প্রয়োগ করার কারণে হাত পা ইনফেকশন হয়ে যায়। পর হচ্ছে আমার হাতের এখান থেকে আর পায়ের কবজি থেকে ওই ওষুধের মাধ্যমে পড়ে গেল। আমার চলতে গেলে অনেক সমস্যা হয়ে যায়, রাস্তাঘাট ভালো না, বৃষ্টি হলে আমি বাইরে বের হতে পারি না। আমরা কোলে করে স্কুলে নিয়ে যেতাম, নিয়ে যেয়ে ভর্তি করে দিলাম। এবং ও যে আমার মেয়ে যে প্রতিবন্ধী হিসেবে লেখাপড়া করছে, ও কোনোদিন আল্লাহর রহমতে আপনাকে দোয়া সেবাতে কোনোদিনও ফেল করে নাই। ও খুব ভালোভাবে লেখাপড়া করছে, ওর খুব কষ্ট হয়ে গেছে। ও যে সময় স্কুলে গেছে কাঁদছে, সে আমার ভালো লাগে নাই কে যে সময় স্কুলে গেছে পায়ের মধ্যে কত সময় কাঁটা বিনছে, চেরা বিনছে, খুব কান্নাকাটি করছে। তারপরে গেছে স্কুলে, যাওয়ার পর ওইভাবে লেখাপড়া করছে আঁটুতে।
উর্মির যে কোনো সমস্যা হলে আমাদের কাছে সে জানাতো এবং আমরা চেষ্টা করতাম সেটা সমাধান করার। উর্মি আসলেই প্রথম থেকে পড়াশোনায় বেশ আগ্রহী এবং সে আসলে পড়াশোনায় মনোযোগ দিয়ে করে থাকে, যার জন্য উর্মির রেজাল্টও কিন্তু বরাবর ভালো।
সিআরপির বাস্কেটবল প্লেয়ার রবিন, ওনার মাধ্যমে আমি সিআরপির খবরটা পেলাম।
উর্মি যখন প্রথম সিআরপিতে এসেছিল, সে 4 হাত পায়ের উপর ভর করে এসেছিল এবং যখন আমরা তাকে জানালাম যে এখানে যদি আপনি পুনর্বাসনটা সম্পূর্ণ করতে পারেন তাহলে কৃত্রিম অঙ্গ পরে আপনি হাঁটতে পারবেন, সে অনেক বেশি খুশি ছিল। এরপরে আমরা পুরোপুরি অ্যাসেসমেন্ট করার পরে ডিভাইস যখন ম্যানুফ্যাকচারটা কমপ্লিট হয়, তারপরে আমরা যখন প্রথম ফিটিং করলাম, সে যখন তার কৃত্রিম পা পরে দাঁড়ালো, সে আরও বেশি খুশি ছিল যে সে হাঁটতে পারবে। তো তার পুরো পুনর্বাসনটা শেষ হওয়ার পরে এখন যখন সে হাঁটতে পারছে, তো তার পরিবারের লোকের এবং সে অনেক বেশি খুশি এবং তার এই ডিভাইসটা নিয়ে সে এখন স্কুল কন্টিনিউ করতেছে।
পা লাগানোর আগে হাঁটতে অনেক কষ্ট হতো, তারপর পা লাগানোর পর এখন অনেকটা সুবিধা হয়েছে, ভালো লাগে হাঁটতে। আপনারা সবাই দোয়া করবেন, কারোর উপর যেন নির্ভরশীল হয়ে জানি সারা জীবন না থাকতে হয়।
আমারই বিশ্বাস হয় নাই যে ওর এত সমস্যা নিয়ে এই হুইল চেয়ার বাস্কেটবল খেলা সম্ভব। প্রতিবন্ধকতা থাকা সত্ত্বেও উর্মি খুব ভালো করতেছে, তার স্কিল খুবই ভালো। আমি আশা করি যে সামনে উর্মি অনেক ভালো করবে এবং যে আমাদের যে মূল টিমটা আছে, যে আমি আশা করি যে খুব অচিরে এসে মূল টিমে খেলতে পারবে।
সিআরপি যারা সার্বিক চেষ্টা করে তাকে সহায়তা করে সকল মানুষের সাথে একসাথে চলার মতো সক্ষমতা অর্জন করিয়ে দিয়েছে, এজন্য অবশ্যই আমরা সিআরপির কাছে কৃতজ্ঞ। আমরা দোয়া করব উর্মি যেন তার শিক্ষা জীবনে মাধ্যমিক পর্যায় থেকে ভালো ফলাফল করে সামনে এগিয়ে যেতে পারে।
needing to follow up people.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, that is an inspirational film about a young girl who was helped and enabled to do her day-to-day work and study. Now, as Valerie said, they started the CRP with just for 4 people, but they are supporting thousands of people. You now have 12 centres across Bangladesh, and that video was done by another woman. Please tell me about that female who did that video.
Yes, she is a member of our staff. Her name is Mukta, and she was trained in simple filmmaking by volunteers from the UK who came and spent quite a few months with us to transfer their knowledge to the Bangladeshis who were interested in photography and filmmaking. Mukta was, I think, feeling really pleased herself because we heard that there was the WHO 3rd competition for making short videos.
Okay.
And there were certain sections, and we chose the rehabilitation section, but how it would be put together and what was kept in and left out was totally over to Mukta. So she went to the village to meet Urmi.
And she's in a wheelchair herself?
Herself, from post-polio, we would describe it, when she was very much younger. So she spent her life in a wheelchair. But it's so lovely to see her. Now, of course, cameras are much lighter and more easy to carry on your shoulder. And so whenever we have special people to visit or to speak, she will come in without any sound from her wheelchair and film what is going on and the speeches. So, and it's meant that she's had a job, and with more experience, she will be continuing, we hope, with CRP for a very long time to come. But that is another example of how people can be employed.
And it's exactly the type of things that we when I said that women empowering women. So as a female, you started this journey, and you are now having a ripple effect, I suppose,
yes.
because by you helping one woman, another woman is being helped, and so it will continue on as a legacy that you've actually started. I mean, you started with four people, and you not only help them, but you also provide employability. And most of those people who go through that training work in your centres?
Yes, they do. But also we encourage them to work, and many of them who've been trained as the title is Industrial Sewing Machine Operators. So there is a set course for that, and often it is supported by Marks and Spencer's. The project has slightly changed its name in Bangladesh, so they call it Marks and Start. But they've been running for many years.
Excellent.
With us supplying people, young women who are interested to learn. And almost surely they will all have a job in a garments factory as a result. So as long as the factory is accessible for a wheelchair user, that's where they're aiming for. So it means that the difference between ability and disability is getting less and less because they can prove how well they can do the job.
That's brilliant. So you have donors from Marks and Spencer's. Do you have any other donors that you're working with?
Tesco is also.
Excellent. So what do Tesco do in Bangladesh?
Again, teaching people to work industrial sewing machines. There's something called linking. So it's how you train a person with a different sort of machine to put the sleeve to the body of the
wow.
jumper or whatever. Yeah, so it's so marvelous to find that these big companies have been working in Bangladesh for so many years and so supportive to people with disabilities working in their factories.
It is amazing to hear that, actually, because you don't hear about this great work these companies are doing.
It's
and so with Marks and Spencer's, Tesco's, are there any other companies that's out there?
There would be other companies. I'm afraid I'm not really remembering
That's
just
okay. But
which they are.
Because one of the things I was going to say, these 12 centres, how do you run them? Like what? Because it must be expensive to run these centres. So how do you actually pay for the fees and the running cost?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because up until very recently, those 12 centres that we have, in addition to our main centre in Sava, each of them had a vocational training section. But now that we have got a multi-storey building at Manikganj, a Bangladeshi lady and her family who live in London and have lived here many years, gave us the gift of land. And then we were able to raise money for this multi-storey building. But what that's doing is housing the big vocational training institute for our patients. And so what it means is, instead of having just 5 or 7 or even 10 people in separate centres, which means there's the rent of a room and the cost of the teacher. If we can have it, and apart from that, I think it's wonderful for people with disabilities to meet others from other parts of the country. So they will come to our Manikganj centre. What has been very exciting, just in the last few months, it was completed, was to give them, as a wheelchair user, something for recreation. And it was the giving of a basketball court, which is costly, but it was as a result of the Continental Garments Company coming forward and saying, yes, we can do that. And then they came to open it just a few months ago. So this is a way where people in wheelchairs can get a lot of exercise, because you're leaning forward to get the ball from there, you're reaching up, you're twisting.
It's a good exercise.
It really is.
It is a very good exercise, because at least it keeps them fit as well.
Absolutely.
And so it's like not only actually you're encouraging them to get involved in employability, but you're providing recreational support as well.
Something they really enjoy.
And I saw in the video how she's enjoying playing the basketball. And it is nice to see women getting involved in wheelchair, playing basketball. And so your centre clearly caters for everyone, regardless of the gender?
Certainly it does.
And what about the age group?
Yes. Normally, young children don't succumb to a spinal injury. They tend to be much more like a rubber ball if they fall from a height. But of course, sometimes they do. We had a little boy, I remember, who was riding a goat, the family's goat, and the goat didn't like to have somebody on his back, and so whipped him off, and poor little chap fell on his head and broke his neck. But again, being very young, had wonderful recovery. The last time that we saw him, he was walking, but not a perfect walk, but he was independent and up on his feet.
And that's amazing, like how you're supporting small children as well as adults. I mean, one of the things that I was so inspired by meeting you at the charity dinner the other day. And you shared a story about a female captain in the army.
Yeah.
Please tell us a bit about her.
Well, certainly. it was a rather tragic story because she had always been top of her class, a very intelligent, very bright young trainee in the army, and they were on a training exercise.
1 minute.
Please.
Sorry, I've got a caller on the... You're very busy today, Valerie. So I have a caller on the line. Hello, who am I speaking to?
Hello, who is speaking?
Hi, who's this on the call?
It's Mrs. Rashid.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Rafiq. How are you?
Oh, all right, thank you.
Mrs. Rafiq, what would you like to ask Valerie a question?
Oh, yes.
Please go ahead, and you're on live at the moment.
Oh, all right then. Hello, Valerie.
Hello, Mrs.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, nice to see you other day. You look very nice and you look very well. Did you enjoy did you happy with that program on Lal Hawali last Sunday?
I thought it was wonderful.
Yes, it was
to
a
have
wonderful
such a
program.
big
Wonderful
number
program.
of people
Yes.
and a delicious
And
meal.
have you got any other program, in future staying in London?
Yes, there are, and different ones still to be set up. There are just very recently, well, just yesterday, in fact, we heard that in Liverpool there could be a fundraising group, so that will be perhaps in September.
Can you speak a little bit louder, Valerie? I can't hear you.
Right, thank you.
Mrs. Rashid, I was going to say, Auntie G, we will be actually, I know you're planning to host one event as well, which I'm sure Valerie will be happy to join, but also I know I spoke to my uncle in Oxford, and he's also planning to host a dinner in a restaurant for you. And it's great to see so many people who have heard about you, who wants to work with you, and also support that journey that you started 50 years ago. And it's amazing to see, because I know Mrs. Rashid, she also worked with you in Bangladesh and supported some of those ladies.
Oh, yes. Is it Jebul talking?
Sorry?
Is it Jebul speaking?
No, this is Fajli here, Mrs.
Oh, yes. I know you, yes.
Thank you.
Carry on, yes.
Thank you so much. Well, I look forward to seeing you very soon at your show, but thank you so much for joining joining us. Sorry, please continue. You were talking about the captain in the army?
That's right. She was on a zip wire and something obviously had snapped and she fell and broke her neck. So, which means that both arms, both legs, trunk muscles paralyzed, no feeling in the skin, paralyzed bladder and bowel. Those things that everybody needs to contend with if they have a spinal injury. What was tragic for her was that she lost her father, and there was a very wonderful relationship between the two. So she was extremely sad when he died. But she is still that same intelligent, hardworking woman. What was wonderful in the case of Canis was that instead of the army following their usual route, which apparently was to, I think the expression is boarding out, saying that you must be fit and strong and active to continue working in the army. But in Canis' case, they were very happy to continue her employment. And what was so amazing was after a few years, she was made, got promotion and became Captain Canis.
Wow, that's amazing.
But just 10 days ago, we had the very exciting news that another promotion, which is just, I want to say, unheard of, but it's so exciting for her and for her family. She is now Major Canis. So
wow, that's absolutely amazing to hear.
And I think, you see, the whole of Bangladesh can feel the disabled people in Bangladesh, people with a disability, that it is recognized as something that doesn't prevent you leading a normal life.
Absolutely.
You can carry on with your
Yes.
job. So, and with an organization like the military who had opted for just very fit and energetic people, and now that is no longer, yes, is changing.
Because I
for
can
the
see
better.
as a woman in the army with a disability how difficult it would have been. So, and she is clear evidence of resilience and determination.
It is. It's a wonderful example.
It's great to hear that the Bangladesh Army is actually recognizing her hard work. So, and that promotion clearly demonstrates that the government and the army are actually supporting it, because I know the Bangladesh government are very, very supportive of the work that you are doing.
Yes.
And you received personally from the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, citizenship. So tell me about that experience.
Well, she came to visit our centre,
Yes.
I remember, and it was our wheelchair user. She was in a director's position. Her name is Mahua Pal. She approached the Prime Minister on the stage and said how I have had the same problem as other people who were with a foreign passport, that to get a renewal of a visa all the time, every year, was not so easy. And then she agreed, that the Bangladeshi citizenship would be possible. Yeah.
That is absolutely amazing. And I know you've achieved lots of other awards across the globe, and also you've received the Queen's recognition, and you have an OBE as well. So we are so proud of you. I can't actually express how honored and proud we are to have you here on this show today. We are actually, I can't believe how time flies when you're having fun. And it's, I would just wanted to actually ask before we go, is that what is your plan for how will this continue? Because you're 78 years old now. And so what is your plan to continue this amazing work that you are doing?
If I could answer it in this way, I heard Farhan, a fundraiser for the VTT, which stands for the Valerie Taylor Trust, stand up in a supporters meeting and say that now there are several British Bangladeshi professionals, so doctors, lawyers, engineers, trained perhaps here or in other countries, but living here. And Farhan was throwing out the challenge that now we should ourselves, as British Bangladeshis, be able to run these centres in Bangladesh. Why? Because we started them for the very poorest people with a disability, and they won't get hospital treatment or a visit with a consultant unless somebody is there to support the financial implications of the disability. So this is, to me, where there is this beautiful partnership of people working on the ground, but us being enabled to work with poor people because of other people who are raising money for us. And I just feel that because there are so many Bangladeshi restaurants across the country, if each restaurant could say once, maybe twice a year, they would commit that they have an evening where their guests come and hear about CRP, but also that they then donate the profit of those meals to give as a donation to Centre for the Rehabilitation of the Paralysed in Bangladesh.
Thank you. I mean, and absolutely. And this is actually going out to our viewers as well to say that if any of you are interested in supporting the great work that Valerie is doing, there is the Valerie Trust website you can actually go to, and you can actually either make a donation, ongoing donation or one-off donation, whatever you want to donate. Please do follow Valerie's Trust website, and the website details is www.valerietaylortrust.org, and please do help people. That you can clearly see the difference that Valerie is making in the lives of Bangladeshi people. And she's not a Bangladeshi herself. She's a British lady who went to Bangladesh, who fell in love with the community and has continued to make a difference for over 50 years. And we would like to actually say to every one of you, I know this is a holy month at the moment, just before Eid. So if you want to make a donation, please do visit Valerie's website and make a donation. And we are now coming to the end of our show. And before we actually finish, Valerie, is there a message you'd like to give to our viewers to inspire them? Because I'm sure they've already heard what you're doing and it's really, really inspired. But is there a message you'd like to give before we go?
Yes, thank you. I think I would like to describe us, people listening to this program now, and people talking about it, that we are a family, and all the time we are growing in size. More staff, more patients, more countries able to come forward and finance our work. And so if we can continue that family relationship with people with disabilities, many times they find that that they are ostracized, they're not accepted, they are left behind, and it should be the desire of all of us to, whether it's just a lady living alone, lonely, and just half an hour of somebody popping in and chatting with her, perhaps reading the newspaper. These are the ways that we can make the real changes.
Thank you. Well, I know you spent a lot of time in Bangladesh, and I want to hear if you can speak Bangla. Oh. Please say something in Bengali.
আমার বাংলা খুবই খারাপ, আমার খুব দুঃখ লাগছে যে এতদিন পর আমার বাংলা আরো ভালো হয়নি। আমার মনে হয় মেবি 30 বছর আগে আমার বাংলা আর একটু ভালো ছিল, বাট এখন অনেকটা খারাপ হয়ে গেছে। আমি বারবার বলি যে আমি বাংলিশ বলি, অর্ধেক বাংলা অর্ধেক ইংরেজি একসাথে আমি মিশাই করি। শুধু আমি আমার কথা বুঝতে পারি, আমি মনে করি মন্দ না, বাট আসলে অন্যজন বুঝতে পারে না। সো কমিউনিকেট যোগাযোগের জন্য কোনো লাভ নেই।
আপনি অনেক সুন্দর বাংলা বলেন। Thank you so much, Valerie. That was amazing, absolutely amazing. Really, really enjoyed your Bangla. You speak better than most people I know, actually. So your Bengali is good. If I knew, I could have done the whole show in Bangla. But thank you so much, Valerie, for joining us today and sharing your journey and inspiring all of us to support people who need it, because we all believe at our place on this earth is a test to see how we support people who need our help and support. And you're not just only supporting them, but you're enabling them to progress further in the journey. And also some of them are helping others as well. You're employing them as well. And so I believe that we need to keep that going as long as we're all alive. And if there is anything you would like, any help and support that we can provide, we will be there to help you.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
You're
Fajli.
welcome. And I would like to say to the viewers, thank you so much for staying with us and watching this inspirational journey of Valerie and Taylor OBE. And I would like to say, I look forward to seeing you all again. Please keep watching Empowered Women Show, a show designed to inspire, empower, and raise the aspiration. Bye.
বার্মিংহামের আশেপাশে কত মার্কেট আছে, ওরিয়েন্টাল সুপার মার্কেট সেরা সবার মাঝে। মাছ মাংস শাক সবজি সব তাজা ভাই, এর লাগা তো বউয়ের রান্ধনে তো মজায় খায়। ওরিয়েন্টালে বাজার করে এত শান্তি পাই, হাকালুকি হাওড়ের মতো কারপার কাছে ভাই।
Oriental Halal Store, Coventry Road, Small Heath, Birmingham.
এ হলজারুদ আর আইতাম না দেশো, আর আইতাম না লন্ডন আইছি। না না তুই বহুত জ্বালানি জ্বালাইছত গো, মাইলে নদী গো আর নাই বুঝছত নি। মুখ বন্ধ করলে আতারে বাতারে মাতিস না। দৌড় মুখ লাত মারমু ভেটর তোলাতে এর বাদে কমরো 2 লাখ। তুই তো জানাস না কাটতে চালি উফরে দিয়া এ উফরে দিয়া লাগি তোমার ধনে লন্ডন। রাখি দে ও বিয়নটিভি ইউকে আগামী 4 তারিখ বুঝছত নি। আমি বিরাট এক প্রোগ্রামের আয়োজন করছি। ওই আমার তারা দাওয়াত দিছ না যাইতাম লন্ডন হল লগে দেখো হইব। রাখি দে তোর লগে মাতার সময় নাই। রাখ খামো মাত বাড়ায় ডাকর এক কথা আছে না, মাঠে মাত বাড়ে আর মা কোন গি বাড়ে, এই জিনিসটা আমি বুঝাইতাম পারলাম। সুপ্রিয় দর্শক মন্ডলী, এই মুহূর্তে দেশ বিদেশের যে যেখান থেকে আমার দেখরা সবরে জানাইলাম শুভেচ্ছা। আগামী 4 জুলাই সন্ধ্যা 7টার সময় BEONTV ইউকের অর্গানাইজিংয়ে বার্মিংহাম পিকাডিলি ব্যানকুয়েটিং সুইটও একটা প্রোগ্রাম অর্গানাইজ করা হয়েছে, ডাইন উইথ কাট্টুশালী। তো আপনারা যারা সিলেটি নাটকবালা ফাইন, যারা কাট্টুশালী নাটকবালা ফাইন, তারা অবশ্যই আগামী 4 জুলাই সন্ধ্যা 7টার সময় অবশ্যই বার্মিংহাম আইবা এবং এই প্রোগ্রামটা সরাসরি আপনারা উপস্থিত থাকবা। আপনারা সবর লগে দেখো হইব, গান হইবা, আড্ডা হইব। আর যেহেতু একটা আমার প্রথম লন্ডন প্রোগ্রাম, আশা করি আপনারা সব আইবা আর আইয়া এই প্রোগ্রামটারে আরো প্রাণবন্ত করে তুলবা। আর যারা আইতে পারছে না তারা লাগি তারা হতাশ হওয়ার কিছু নাই। BEONTV ইউকে এই পুরো প্রোগ্রামটাও আপনারা লাইভও দেখানো হইব। আপনারা সব BEONTV ইউকের লগে থাকবা, আপনারা সরাসরি উপভোগ করতে পারবেন। ভালো থাকবা, সুখে থাকবা। 4 তারিখ দেখো হইব ইনশাআল্লাহ বার্মিংহাম পিকাডিলি ব্যানকুয়েটিং সুইটও।
আপনি কি আপনার রেস্টুরেন্টের জন্য কমার্শিয়াল কুকার, তন্দুরি, হট প্লেট, ওভেন এবং ক্যানোপির বিশ্বস্ত প্রতিষ্ঠান খুঁজছেন? আপনি কি এই সকল সামগ্রী ইউকে স্ট্যান্ডার্ড সার্ভিস সার্টিফিকেট CE সহ চান? তাহলে আর ভাবনা নেই। সুদীর্ঘ 20 বছর স্পেন, ইটালি এবং বাংলাদেশে সুনামের সাথে ব্যবসা করার পর এখন বার্মিংহামে খোলা হলো আমাদের শোরুম এবং ফ্যাক্টরি।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। একটা ভালো রেস্টুরেন্ট এবং একটা ভালো ব্যবসার জন্য একটা ভালো কুকারের প্রয়োজন হয়। আলহামদুলিল্লাহ আমি অনেক দিন খোঁজাখুঁজির পর বার্মিংহাম কমার্শিয়াল কুকার যারা CE অ্যাপ্রুভ তাদের কাছ থেকে আমি একটা কুকার কিনেছিলাম। কুকারটা অত্যন্ত ভালো এবং খুবই ভালো সার্ভিস দিচ্ছে এবং তাদের ব্যবসা প্রতিষ্ঠানের সার্ভিসটাও খুবই ভালো। আমি হ্যাপি এবং আমার কিচেনের স্টাফটাও হ্যাপি।
বার্মিংহাম কমার্শিয়াল কুকার লিমিটেড, ইউনিট 69, সিডেনহাম রোড, B111DG, বার্মিংহাম। ফোন নম্বর 0795